Salutations, Proboscis2 here with a tutorial on something I figured out how to do a few days ago that really impressed me. That is how to port Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex.
Crash Bandicoot on the PS2.
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 Levels into the January 10th, 2005 prototype build of LEGO Star Wars the video game on the PS2.
LEGO Star Wars 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 on the PS2.
Now, this only works on the prototype for whatever reason, suggesting to me that they may have changed the way the code in LEGO Star Wars handles its GSC files between the January 10th build and the final build, which is interesting. So, a couple things you'll need. Obviously, you'll need the prototype build of LEGO Star Wars and a Wrath of Cortex ISO for PS2. You will need QuickBMS and this Crash Bandicoot ttgames.bms script. And thirdly, you'll need this excellent tool created by Yoda Dude 2003 named DATOneArchiver _ version 1.0. We are going to use this to rebuild the game.dat archive used in LEGO Star Wars 1, so we don't have to replace anything with QuickBMS. Again, excellent tool, I highly recommend it. But anyways, first we want to go into the Wrath of Cortex and find the level we want to port. For this, I will be doing Castle, which in the game is known as, what's it called? The Gauntlet. It's a very tough level. So, first thing you're going to want to do is open it in a hex editor. Well, you don't need to, but I'm going to do it because I need to show you this. The GSC files in the Wrath of Cortex ISO are RNC ProPact. And if you try to import them like this into LEGO Star Wars, they will crash because the game, LEGO Star Wars, doesn't know how to read RNC ProPact compressed data. So what we need to do to unpack it is drag the Crash Bandicoot TT Games BMS script over QuickBMS and locate whatever level you're going to port over. So, Castle. Select it and save, and it will unpack it because where is it? Here. The Crash Bandicoot TT Games script supports RNC ProPact content or files. If I can find it here, let's see. Here, yeah. The problem with it, though, is that if you try to do it on certain files, let me show you this, it will not do it correctly, and it'll crash QuickBMS. I'm trying to think of one that does that. Let me think. I think Western does. Yeah, it'll give you this error message, so it's not entirely reliable. I think, actually, DATOneArchiver might have a way that it can unpack those RNC ProPact files, but I'm not sure. I haven't figured it out yet anyways. Now use the same script over QuickBMS again, and we're going to extract the LEGO Star Wars prototype game.dat, and we're going to save it in a directory in the DATOneArchiver folder. Yeah. I'm going to name it LEGO Star Wars 1. Dat. Oh. Dat. There we go. Open it. Save it. DATOneArchiver actually has a way to unpack these files too, but I'm just used to using QuickBMS because, well, I've been doing it for so long. Anyways. What now? Oh yes, now we make the modification. So go in to the DAT directory and find a level you want to replace. So I'm going to do map E, Dexter's Diner. delete the ProPact GSC file from Wrath of Cortex, select all the files, and then rename them to whatever level you're replacing. Map E. Copy them. Delete the contents of map the level you're replacing, and then paste it. The contents you're gonna replace it with. So yeah, that's done. And now we repack the game.dat. So I already have this text file I made with the, because DATOneArchiver is a command line tool. So what you do is go and find this command prompt exe in your Windows drive, your C drive. It should be in the system files. I recommend doing a search for it and copy and paste it into the DATOneArchiver folder. Then drag DATOneArchiver over the command prompt exe. Then we're going to put DATOneArchiver so it knows we're talking about it. Then build, which tells it to build an archive. -F, and then it's the name of the archive it'll build to the DATOneArchiver directory. And then .g is for the game you're building it for, because DATOneArchiver supports LEGO Star Wars 1 for PS2 and LEGO Star Wars 2 for PS2. And then D is the directory it's building the, it's getting the data from, that it packs into the DAT. So I'm going to copy and paste this. And I'm going to change the last part to the directory I just created. Star Wars 1 DAT. Oh, I forgot. There. Save it. Copy it. And paste it into the command prompt window. Press enter. And there we go. That's done. So now we copy the game.dat we just created. Go back to your LEGO Star Wars prototype ISO and paste it in there and overwrite the other one. Now we rebuild the ISO with your ISO editing tool of choice. I'm going to use Ultra ISO. PS2 CD image. Star Wars. Save. Let's see here. I'm gonna name it LEGO Star Wars 1 Castle Test. I should also mention, even if certain levels unpack, they might still crash. It's just like LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga levels on the PC version of LEGO Batman. It's very unstable, I should mention. But anyways, I will see you over on PCSX2 so I can show you the level. So yeah, see you on the game.
Now Star Wars has the silver objects that can only be destroyed by explosions from a thermal detonator. Harry Potter also has silver objects that can only be destroyed by explosions. Harry Potter and Star Wars are the same. Harry Potter does the bouncy bouncy ting ting dance with C-3PO.
Alright, here we are in the game, and if I press the new game, it will take us to... come on. The Gauntlet. And you'll notice straight away, the camera will not follow the player. And I will talk about why I think that is later, but first I'm just going to show off the level with the debug camera. Yeah. Not sure what's going on with the lighting either. Doesn't seem to affect Qui-Gon and Obi. But, yeah, it's a full Wrath of Cortex level working at... what the heck? Something's wrong with the particles there. Anyways. It's a full Wrath of Cortex level working in LEGO Star Wars minus the camera. And, I'm going to talk about why that is, but later in this video, but I still need to write the script for that part, because I'm not doing it off the top of my head. I will show the rest of this level, though, if, okay, I gotta turn on some debug options. Let's see. Lift player, FPS display, streaming display. Let's see if I can move this. There's a part I want to show off over here with the characters. I can't tell if he's moving or not. The camera's moving a little bit. Yeah, LEGO Star Wars models, character models, are slightly smaller than Wrath of Cortex models. It's just like what they did with the Narnia levels and characters. So, let's see here. Guys, gotta get the camera. Okay. Oh. Dang it. I don't know if it really looks like actual LEGO figures. I think they're too big to be considered the size of actual LEGO figures in relation to the level. I mean, I remember when I did that LEGO Star Wars 2 Comes to Life video where I ported that Narnia level into LEGO Star Wars 2. I called it that because it was like the toys were coming alive. I don't know if you can really say that for this though, because they're too big. Okay. This part I want to show up here with this. You may notice the objects, like the hammers that come down on the player at this section of the level. They're not here, and I'm not sure how to fix that. But funny enough, this flaming ball that comes down is still here, and if I interact with it, oh, I just spoiled it, I guess. It still hurts the player, so I'm going to show that off. And then I'm just going to show the rest of the level with the camera. If I can float over here. The collision in this level was always so wonky. I'm trying to see if I can get it. I tried going to the stairs. Down there? Yeah. Here we go. Okay. You move so slow. I should have sped up his parameters before I made this video, but anyways. This flaming ball will actually still kill your player. And that's really interesting, because it's like some of the objects from Wrath of Cortex still work, while others don't show up. I think the reason that is because, the objects for Wrath of Cortex are stored in an OBJ file, which I don't think LEGO Star Wars doesn't recognize, because they didn't use that asset for LEGO Star Wars. I think the object assets for LEGO Star Wars are stored in the level's text file. So maybe we can convert those over. And I'm going to talk about a possible way we can convert the camera so I don't have to keep using this freaking debug camera. Because I'll be honest, I'm looking for a way to make a full mod of this. Crash Bandicoot levels in LEGO Star Wars. Let's see. The particles are still messed up. That's a window there. And some random squares. So these are where the obstacles, like those spinning blades on sticks would be. I don't know what they're called. I don't know what you would call those. I'm going to be talking about the particle editor later, so maybe we can fix these too. Basically, what I'm going to talk about later in this video is the possibility that, well, the particle, or the level editors that were featured in the Wrath of Cortex, you can re-enable them with a action replay code. And they were also featured in John Burton's video of that Madagascar party game that got cancelled that they worked on. I think those are still in LEGO Star Wars, the prototype and in the final version. And they're all... The evidence is also there in LEGO Star Wars too, but I'm just focused on LEGO Star Wars right now. Specifically the prototype, because, again, I want to make this Crash Bandicoot thing into a full mod. That's the end of the level. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to show, so I will see you next in the scripted explanations section of this video. So yeah, see you there.
Ronald McDonald in the new do. Hey, maybe I could use a new hairstyle. What do you think, Bertie? Oh, cool. Yee! He's I, Ronald. Bertie, this style really is me.
Everybody loves it.
We sure do, Ronald. Nice, dude.
So to start off, I need to explain how the camera works in The Wrath of Cortex and in LEGO Star Wars, because Traveler's Tales actually changed how it works when they made their Finding Nemo game, which, using the process I described earlier in this video, you can also port levels from and into the prototype. And the camera in those levels actually functions If we open the Gauntlet GSC file in a hex editor, you may notice the names of what I believe to be camera sock assets. In Wrath of Cortex, they're labeled WeCam _. You can also find the strings that say WeCam within the game's executable. Now, if we look in a LEGO Star Wars GSC, we can find similar strings, this time labeled as sock _. As with Finding Nemo, the various socks in the LEGO Star Wars can be given additional parameters in their respective level's text file. As with Wrath of Cortex's WeCam _ assets, LEGO Star Wars' sock _ strings are also referenced in its respective executable. My theory is that the WeCam assets in Wrath of Cortex serve the same purpose as Finding Nemo and LEGO Star Wars' sock assets. I believe this theory may be able to be proven by hex editing the Wrath of Cortex GSC and replacing all references to the WeCam with references to sock. I've attempted this a couple of times. The first time I tried it, the game crashed. I just copied and pasted sock _ in place of all the references to WeCam _ in the Gauntlet GSC. But before I tested it in game, I changed the value at offset 18, which, if you were unaware, contains the length of the asset list in each GSC file as a little endian 32-bit value, to reflect the change in size that was caused by replacing every instance of WeCam with sock. On this exact same attempt, I also changed what I believed to be a 24-bit little endian value at offset 4 to reflect the previously mentioned changes. Admittedly, I have no idea what purpose this supposed value serves, or even if it is a value, but this may have been what caused the game to crash on this first attempt. On my second attempt, I didn't change the file size whatsoever, and just overwrote the WeCam asset strings with sock ones, and as for the leftover characters from the now partially overwritten WeCam strings, I overwrote those with zeros in the hex column. The game didn't crash when I attempted to load that, but the camera also didn't function as it should either. That's my research into fixing the camera problem. Now on to the second topic I'd like to discuss, that being Traveler's Tales' built-in level editors that were used to create all their PS2 games, and can be re-enabled in the Wrath of Cortex using action replay codes. At first glance, there are three codes that should seem important to us: the loader, or master code as it's sometimes referred to, the enable all editors code, and lastly, the open editor menu code. You actually don't need to use the master and enable all editor codes, at least not when using the NTSC Greatest Hits edition on PCSX2, as I'm doing. So let's focus on the open editor code. The first line of code reads as follows: if the value at the address D4F5C2 is equal to 0000FOFE, then activate the next line. D1 sets the line as an if statement. D4F5C2 is the address in memory Wrath of Cortex stores its button inputs at, and the OOOOFOFE is the value that D4F5C2 will be set to once the select R1, R2, L1, and L2 buttons are all held down simultaneously, as the title of the code suggests. The second line is a 32-bit RAM write, although the only byte it really modifies is the last. The 20 sets the line as a 32-bit RAM write. 63E628 is the address in RAM that will be overwritten, and the next 4 bytes are the value that will be written to said address. If we load the game's executable in Ghidra and go to this address in memory, you will see that it's an address where the game stores a 32-bit value. If we run the game in PCSX2, open the debug window, use it to navigate to address 63E628 and overwrite the last byte. It just looks like the first byte because it's little endian. With 01, the game will display the main editor menu. By matching up data from the executable with the Wrath of Cortex executable contained in the European PS2 Demo Disc 17, which contains full debug symbols for Wrath of Cortex, I managed to discover that the intended name for the 32-bit value stored at address 63E628, as it is in the NTSC Greatest Hits version of the game, is labeled as editor_active. This explains why setting it to 1 activates the editor menu. It's a Boolean parameter. Now here's the tricky part, trying to figure out if this can be replicated in the LEGO Star Wars prototype. Unlike a lot of prototypes, the January 10th, 2005 build of LEGO Star Wars is completely void of any debug symbols. So locating the aforementioned 32-bit editor active Boolean parameter, if it even exists, will be difficult. In fact, I suspect that the code relating to the main menu that allows you to choose between the various editor types doesn't exist within LEGO Star Wars. My reason for suspecting this is that, while the executable does contain the necessary strings used by the main editor menu, they aren't referenced by any functions. Compare this to the Wrath of Cortex executable, where you can clearly see that the strings are referenced by functions. I can, however, safely assure you that certain editors from Wrath of Cortex do seem to partially exist within LEGO Star Wars, as the strings related to them are not only present, but referenced by multiple functions. These include the anim editor, a seemingly unheard of editor named the bridge editor, the grass editor, the object editor, which hopefully functions differently from Wrath of Cortex's considering they are stored differently, a new editor called the RTL editor, which, as a separate string seems to suggest, is an acronym for real-time lights, the fog editor, and lastly the particle editor. All the editors I just mentioned have functions that reference their strings and therefore must be at least partially functional. So how do I suggest we go about attempting to activate these editors? Seeing as how the main editor menu doesn't seem to exist, well, it's possible each individual editor has its own 32-bit Boolean parameter. If that's the case, it all comes down to locating the correct address in RAM. That's all for today, and hopefully the knowledge I conveyed in this video is of some help. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. I am totally gonna teabag some rabbits, my dudes.
Oh, sorry. Damn it. That's just too dark. Does my mustache look okay? Okay. Breaking news! a rogue citizen tried to hack into Donald Trump's room, but we figured out that that was not the case. The case was we found this person, and he is in Soviet Russia in 1950 something, and now he's in prison for the rest of his life. He just died this morning. Well, never mind. We lost contact of Spirit, and even though this is the year 2010 and it's not, well, it isn't. An autistic child has robbed the bank after being captured. Residents say that he was evicted and now he is going to be executed due to the fact of his... But obviously the government of the city decided not to do it after a crisis of long-term neurology. A pedophile is around the area. Residents are avoiding roads and waterfronts. This pedophile is roaming the streets. If you find this pedophile, report to the public police immediately. He's very fat, skinny. Not much to it. He wears an... Midwest Fur Fest is almost going to be shut down due to the fact of losing fawns. Cassini hooligans has entered the atmosphere on September 15, 2017 after a crisis of long-term lost contact of that spacecraft. Launched in 1990s or somewhere. So I guess I can't remember. After a short term of losses, we can't even determine what this is. Well, for a matter of fact, we don't know. The weather is terrible. It is very hot out, or I should say very cold out, even though I'm retarded, it doesn't know anything about shit. Here is the stupid weather thing. It is very dark, very dark, very dark. It's basically the environment of Venus for some reason, like 800 degrees Fahrenheit, no Celsius, and there's a lot of lightning, lots of lightning. You can barely see, and it's very hot. I have no idea where that came from, but unfortunately that's on Venus. Wait a minute, I'm trying to find it, but for some reason Earth isn't that right. It seems like, you idiot! You're trying to spoil my entire live stream? How dare you! Get out of here before I'm going to ban you from the city. I'm sorry. Apologies. It seemed like we...
What the fuck are you talking about?